Welcome to Tommy Solo's Famous Friends. This is where I get to chat with people that I've connected with over the years in the world of arts and entertainment. And today I have with me children's author and social enterprise entrepreneur, Mr. David Carruthers. Welcome to the show, David.
Hey, Tommy. Thank you so much for having me today.
It's my pleasure. So I understand, David, that you published your first book in 1996, The Bird That Wanted to Fly. What prompted you to start writing in the first place?
Well, so let's back. So 1996 is when my first book came out when I was 24. And then flash forward to today, I'm 48, almost 49. But my reason for doing writing actually started when I was a kid. Basically grade one. We did journals in school, and basically back then I loved Snoopy and Spider-Man and all these different characters, and I'd mix them there into my journals. So my love for writing basically came from journals all the way back in grade one. I also loved reading comic books. My mom, when I was much younger, used to read to me. But then again, like most boys, sort of writing and reading took the back burner to sports. And when I moved to Canada here in 1977, a long time ago, I fell in love with hockey. And my dream, like most Canadian boys then, was to play in the NHL for the Toronto Maple Leafs. When that didn't happen, and I actually graduated university from Dalhousie, a nice plug out for the Dalhousie Tigers. That was back in 1995, and the job market was pretty sad. No jobs except for minimum wage work. I guess it's kind of like it is today as well. And basically with my first book, it did come out in 1996, and it just basically teaches kids about hope, never giving up, opening up their minds, believing you can do anything. And penguins can't fly, but in the story, Petey learns how to fly. So it's really to teach all ages you can do anything when you try.
Well, that's really cool. Now, I know that you've published 11 more books since then, and one of your books, The Candy Dragon, was actually featured in a theatrical production in 1999, and then again in 2002 at the Talbot Theatre. Now, I understand that you donated proceeds the first time to the Children's Health Foundation, and the second time you donated the proceeds to the London Food Bank. So that's pretty cool. The Candy Dragon, that's an interesting story. It starts out with a princess being upset because all she got were clothes as gifts on her birthday, and then there's a bumbling wizard involved and a brave knight that finds a dragon in a cave, and it's a candy dragon. Where did you dream this up?
Yeah, actually, that was lots of fun too. So The Candy Dragon is my second book. And for any writers out there too as well, how the story came to me was there was a place called Tumbletown. And it's long since gone, but it was this place for kids. It had a ball pit in it, wooden castle, and lots of other different things. When I was talking with the owners way back in, this was 1997 actually, and I said, wouldn't it be great if I did a play, like production for you, bring more people in? And so basically started writing the book, and then the play came out afterwards. But Storybook Gardens players back in 1998, they were the first group to put my play on. And that was way back then in 1998 through the Storybook Players. And then we did it through Saunders High School. We actually used their gymnasium and did it there. And again, like Talbot Theatre was great too. But with everything in life, it's a process. You know what? Never giving up, having that constant belief you can do it. And The Candy Dragon, one of my goals with that in the next few years is to have my own children's show to do with The Candy Dragon too as well. So everything in life has certain steps, and it is a process. And for all of the artists out there, they know that. Again, songs aren't written just like that. Some are, some aren't. Some books can take a day, some can take months, some can take years. But life is a process. And again, just remember for all the listeners out there too, young and old, again, never give up on your dreams. And The Candy Dragon, to me, again, when I was growing up, basically loved fairy tales, loved the books with the bright colored pictures. And basically for me, it's like, you know what? This is my first fairy tale. This is my second book, but my first fairy tale. And my goal is to write some more fairy tales too as well down the road. So there will be more fairy tales coming out, and hopefully basically more dreams will be born from kids reading the book, from parents reading the books too as well.
Very cool. Now, you and I have something in common that I wasn't really aware of when you first contacted me, and that's our connection to the Children's Health Foundation of Southwestern Ontario. For years, I was an ambassador to the Children's Health Foundation, and my son was as well until his untimely passing. And I have for years put on Rockin' for Kids in memory of Tommy Jr. for the Children's Health Foundation. So how did you make the connection to the Children's Health Foundation initially yourself?
Okay, so it's an interesting story. So there's many people out there that, see, for me, little business, small businesses, they're all businesses, they're great. And when this is way back in 1997, my first time, I actually went into Walmart and was selling my book. And I was actually raising money back then for Big Brothers Big Sisters. And Walmart was absolutely fantastic. Walmart said, hey, this is our charity, the Children's Hospital. We'll match you dollar for dollar. And I was like, hey, $2 is better than $1. That sounds great. So we ended up raising quite a bit of money for them. Walmart actually let me stay at their store. And I was there from 1997 at the Wellington Walmart. And I was also at the Oak Ridge Walmart too as well, like on and off. And that one since has closed down. But that was in 1997 to 2005, Christmas Eve was my last time there. But it helped me build my customer base. It helped me raise lots of money for the charities. And then Walmart was great to match me dollar for dollar. So it was the big business helping the little guy. So sort of like Goliath helping David. And the Children's Hospital is absolutely wonderful. And again, one of my dreams from my books, which I actually have 18 books now, is to raise many, many millions for the Children's Hospital and also for different charities out there too as well. But like for the listeners out there too as well, you just have to have that belief, right? Just never give up. And money is just money, and money doesn't buy happiness. But if you use it in the right way, money does buy happiness. And again, my goal is to see many families get supported by the books through the different programs that I'm actually working on right now. And thankfully, which is interesting with my writing career, it's been since 1996, my first book came out, and it's basically 24 plus years. But my newest venture is my social enterprise that I actually started with a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, who's a smart businessman too as well. And the business is called Your House. And basically how this all started was about 3 years ago. I said to him, hey, Niaz, wouldn't it be great if we had a business and it'd be a coffee shop called Your House, where people can come and have a cup of coffee, have a donut, and buy inspirational products. We raise money for different charities. And then he said to me, David, how about we have a social enterprise? And I was like, a Starship Enterprise? Like it sounds kind of science fiction type. And I had no clue what a social enterprise was back then, but basically we started it, and we have different authors on the website now as well. We have the youngest author we have, talking about dreams, is only 14. He's a spelling bee champ from London, and he has his first book out. And then we have a poet who's 71 years young, and when she was 12, she wanted to get her poetry books out. And flash forward 59 years later, she has 2 poetry books out. And so that's a big thing. I mean, going back to it with dreams, with anything in life, some of them do take quite a while to do, but just always be persistent. And again, back to what you said about the Children's Hospital, that is a really special place to me. I've actually gone there before. My wife and I have used the Children's Hospital with my daughter. And we've had many friends that have had to go to the Children's Hospital with their kids. And again, they do incredible work there. And we're just so blessed to have an incredible facility here in London. And I mean, the Children's Hospital spreads all over Canada too as well. But we're just so very fortunate to have the wonderful Children's Hospital here in London.
Yeah, and a lot of people out there aren't really aware of the fact that a lot of the funding for the Children's Hospital does come from private and public donations as well. Corporate donations, I should say. So it's been, for me, the importance of putting on the Rocking for Kids shows has been to raise corporate awareness and public awareness as to what the Children's Hospital actually does, because they do need our help. You know, we don't have enough government funding anymore for our essential services. And I don't like to get into religion or politics on the show, but that's something that has been happening for decades, is that we're chopping away at our essential public services. So good on you for doing your part and trying to raise awareness and money for the Children's Hospital. That's awesome. Now, I wanted to just touch on the publishing aspect of what you're doing now. You had mentioned to me that you are working with various authors and helping them to get their books published. So how does that work for people that are interested in writing their first book?
So what I always say, and the funniest thing, so before COVID, and again, darn COVID, but hopefully COVID will pass very soon. But before COVID, since 1996, I've been to many, many schools Again, public schools, private schools. I've basically been in several high schools too as well. And it's what I always teach kids is write because you love to write. It's a great way to express your feelings. It's a wonderful way to really help your creativity, right? And again, for us, basically, so with Your House, we decided to start the publishing bit because so many writers out there, they don't know where to turn. And there's so many companies, and I'm not going to get there into name calling and different things like that, but there's so many companies out there that will publish people's work and then really do nothing for them afterwards. And they're left with these books, and some of these companies don't even give basically people the books. And so they spend thousands and thousands of dollars and they really don't get anything. And again, so when I had told my business partners, I'm like, hey, we should do a publishing division to help people because it is a tough industry. But going back to it again, before getting a book out or before getting, a children's book, novel, whatever out, again, write because you love to write. If you do make money from it, that's what I always tell the kids, because kids, again, years ago for schools would say to me, hey, what kind of sports car do you drive, Mr. Carruthers? And that's the time my kids were really little. And it was like, I have a minivan. And the teachers would be laughing there in the back and so forth. And for most people, most kids and most people think authors are famous. They have tons of money and everything like that, sports cars. But again, going back to writing a book, do it because you love it. If you can make money from it, that's an extra bonus. It's like music too, right? Play because you love to do it. Sing because you love to sing. Play the guitar because you love to play it, right? You never know what's going to happen. But what I always tell the authors we're dealing with now too as well is the writing is like 0.001% of getting a book launched. It's the business side, the marketing, like everything else, which is like 99.99% of it. So with books, with anything, it's a team effort if you want to bring a book out through an actual publisher. But again, just a good old-fashioned way. Go to Walmart, go to Dollarama, get one of the little notepads there for $2 and start writing. And whatever comes to mind. Again, this is COVID times, so most of us have more time than normal, especially people that work for the restaurant industry and stuff like that. So there is more time to write now. So basically grab a pen, pencil, marker, and start writing away.
And for anybody out there who is writing a book or thinking about writing a book, how do they get in touch with you and Your House in order to get their book published?
Wonderful. So there are different things too, what I would say to you. So just going back to write your book. If you want to write some poems, fantastic. If you want to write whatever, do it in a book, either, like I said, from Walmart, from Dollarama, do it, and then basically contact us. But with Your House, again, and here's the other thing too as well, that most writers need to realize this too as well. You can have 10 people telling you right to your face your work's terrible, but you might have 1 million people buying your product. And art is very subjective. All the musicians out there know it too as well. The different authors know it too. Art is very subjective. So going back to it, people can contact us through Your House. So the website is www.yourhouse, S as in Sam, P as in Paul, C as in Colin.com. And we have different packages there too as well. But that's just one of the many different things we do too. There's inspirational programs. We're getting into a bunch of different things. But my love is writing, and that's why the publishing part is so important to me. So people, you know what? Again, you have a book you want to bring out, great. But we're not going to be your typical press. We will not publish everything, which doesn't mean that the person's work isn't good. We just want people to know too as well that before they basically send it to us, basically make sure that you do your own editing. If you do need editing too as well, there's editors too that can help out too. So it is a process. You could have a book done, which I actually still have some manuscripts that still haven't come out yet that are over 10 plus years old. But if that's your dream to get your book done, please call us. We'll definitely help you out. And we're looking forward to meeting all these new authors out there. So young and old, basically to me, a book is just a book, but it's the story behind the story that makes the book even more special too as well. And that's why, the young author we have, 14-year-old, his story is quite something. He's a spelling bee champ. He's right from London. And his mom did start that great charity called Tabitha's Daughters International. And basically from every book that's sold from that book, basically money goes back towards helping this great cause. So it's something basically to us, we're looking for, yes, great books, but going back to it again, if your book ever does get rejected, not only by us, but by other companies, which my books have been before too as well, is don't stop. keep writing because you love to write. And if that is your dream, stick with it and persevere.
Great. Now, I want to just touch on the sports aspect for a minute.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned hockey was a dream of yours, but at one point when I was talking to you, you mentioned that you thought maybe you'd seen me play at the South London Canada Day event, and you said you were there doing basketball tricks.
Oh, yes. Thanks for bringing it up. Yes. So what's really funny, for someone who loves hockey like I do, hockey and basketball season when I was younger were always in the same season. So I could really never try out for basketball, right? And back when you're young and stupid, so to speak, and it's like, I'm going to make the Leafs. I played hockey. And again, even though you think you're really good, you're really not that great because, again, there's so much competition, especially for my old position, which was goalie. There's only 2 spots per team, right? So basically a lot of averages. It doesn't look that good for that. But basically started my hockey career basically doing it as forward and then the goalie. And then flash forward to high school. Again, basically loved basketball too, but there was really no time with hockey in school and life. And then basically this guy that I actually met, he was a basketball trickster named Q-Mac, really talented guy. And I thought, wow, the kids love him. I'm going to learn some basketball tricks. And I actually basically read some books. I went online. I actually was learning all different things. And then I said, hey, let's make some of my own tricks. So to me, there's nothing like being well-rounded, like learning new things. For me, for my shows, and I mean, for you too, I mean, you play music. For anyone who does live shows, it's really hard now with not being able to do anything except for Zoom calls. And again, thank God for Zoom and for the internet that we're able to do something, but there's nothing like a live presentation, teaching kids that, hey, I'm a children's author, I do this, hey, and I also learn basketball tricks, so you can do it too. And it's just like magic, like I do magic tricks. There's one trick that I actually bring a can that's all smushed back to life and there's pop in it. And the kids love that one. And again, it is something simple, but you know what, practice your trade. You know what, basically learn new things. Again, for all the writers out there, most writers are very shy. And again, what I had to learn was how to sort of get out of my shell and learn new things. And again, it's not just a book, it's an actual presentation. So when I went into schools, it'd be interesting, again, to see my first presentation back in 1996, what that was like. But I mean, now it's like, hey, there's basketball, there's magic. One of my goals down the road too is to also write some songs with musicians, hopefully Tommy Solo and a few other people, and bring out good quality, not only children's music, but also hopefully some rock songs down the road too as well.
Well, that's certainly an interesting thought. Yeah, the music, for me, I've been doing the music lately for the love of the music because the music business has been sketchy for forever.
So going back to all the listeners too as well, you know what, try to be as well-rounded as you possibly can. Like, you know what, just have fun with life. Basically try to put your best foot forward. And again, if someone says you can't do it, oh, this dream's stupid, go for it.
Great. Give us the website one more time.
Oh, yeah. So it's www.yourhouse, S as in Sam, P as in Paul, C as in Colin.com. And yeah, people can come and they can see my books. They can see the other authors' books. We are having more products that'll be coming out soon too as well. And the best part with the website is everything that gets sold on it, money goes back towards helping different charities. And again, that's the big thing, not only with me, but with my other partners from Your House, is we want to make it that when people buy something that they're actually giving back to as well. And one of my books I actually wrote years ago, which isn't even out yet, it's called H is for Hospital. My goal from that book, when it does come out, hopefully sometime later this year or early next year, is to raise money for the hospitals, not only here in London, but all throughout Canada, and then hopefully throughout the States too, because there's so many cutbacks too as well. And we do have some wonderful artists here in town too. And that book is called H is for Hospital. So that's one too that I hope to bring out. And for anyone out there who, again, going back to it, if you think you can't do it, basically that usually what happens, right? If you say, oh, I can't, right, the negativity comes in. But again, be positive, think you can do it. And before you realize it, you'll have your first book out. Basically, just don't stop. But I wanted to ask you, Tommy, too. So with your music then, so you've been basically jamming and writing music and playing music since you were probably a young teenager, right?
Oh, from before then, yeah.
Before then,
oh
fantastic.
Yeah, I was about 5 when I picked up the guitar for the first time. Yeah.
Wow, so, fantastic.
Decades. Yeah.
Decades.
Now, me and Moses, we had a band together.
Hey, good band name, me and Moses.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been a long time with music for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have like more questions for me, I would love to answer them for the listeners. If there's anything that whenever you went to the website, if there's anything that hit you that you wanted to ask more about.
No, I think we've pretty well covered it. I normally tell my guests that at the end of the show, it's time to talk about something that you feel passionate about. And you've been doing that the whole time. So if you have a final word, let's have it.
Okay, wonderful. So again, for every writer, musician, especially every person who's ever had negative Nellies there in their life, just know that you can overcome. And just, you know what, use your imagination. It's the greatest gift, especially during these times of lockdowns and things that will clear. That's the biggest thing that I can tell the listeners too is, again, keep on dreaming. Imagination is so important. And you know what, help your fellow man. Without the great team that I have with your house, this wouldn't be possible. So, I mean, this is just network, and meet new people, and always be looking for opportunities. I mean, when one door closes, you know, the old saying is another one opens up, and it's so true. When one door does close, many, many doors and windows open up for you too as well. So, Tommy, you know what? Thank you so much for having me on the show. And for all the dreamers out there, keep on dreaming.
Sage words of advice. Well, that was awesome, David. And until next time, thanks for being on the show, and cheers.
Thank you so much, Tommy.
Well, that certainly was an interesting conversation, and for sure, David Carruthers is very enthusiastic about everything that he does and that he encourages others to do. Make sure you check out the website yourhousespc.com, where they talk about empowering kids and youths of all ages by developing inspirational and educational programs. And you might want to check out their publishing arm as well. Now, in honor of one of David's most popular children's books, The Candy Dragon, here is a little bit of Puff the Magic Dragon. Enjoy.
Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Little Jackie Paper loved that rascal Puff and brought him strings and sealing wax and other fancy stuff. Oh, Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Together they would travel on a boat with billowed sail. Jackie kept a lookout perched on Puff's gigantic tail. Noble kings and princes would bow whene'er they came. Pirate ships would lower their flags when Puff roared out his name. Oh, Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu. Puff the magic dragon lived by the sea and frolicked in the autumn mist in a land called Honolulu.
Tommy Solo's Famous Friends is a one-man production, meaning that I've done all the work, including producing, editing, guest acquisition, etc. All rights reserved. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The theme song for Tommy Solo's Famous Friends was written and recorded by Tommy Solo with a little help from my friends in the night crew. And hey, if you like the show, why not subscribe? Until next time, cheers.